the solitude of the stellar dreamer. The soft, persistent hum of the Somnus was the only constant in Kael's universe. It was a sound that had long ceased to register as noise, becoming instead the very texture of silence, a vibrational pulse that resonated deep within the ship's structure and by extension within Kael's bones. A subtle, unending thrumming that was the very fabric of their solitary existence. For 12 standard cycles, which felt like an age and a mere blink in the cosmic expanse, the Somnus had been a solitary pebble skipping across the cosmic ocean, a vessel designed not for speed or conquest, not for resource extraction or territorial claim, but for the profound slowness of deep space observation. Kael, its sole sentient occupant, was a stellar dreamer, a specialized astronomer whose primary task was to drift through the endless void, observing nebulae that emitted unusually low-frequency cosmic hums, sounds theoretical scientists back on Earth, with their quaint human impatience, had playfully dubbed stellar lullabies. The purpose? To unravel the enigmatic relationship between galactic formations and the subtle sonic energies that permeated the interstellar medium, seeking patterns, seeking answers, seeking something akin to a cosmic voice, avast, silent thought unfolding across unimaginable distances and immeasurable time. The dream was to find a consciousness not just in the stars, but of the stars, a mind born of gravity and stardust, whose very existence was a slow cosmic sigh, a prolonged exhalation spanning epochs, a deliberate unfolding of being that made human lives seem like fleeting blinks of light. Kael's existence aboard the Somnus was a finely tuned symphony of solitude and methodical routine, a deliberate orchestration of minimal inputs and expansive contemplation. Every element of the ship, from the nutrient resequencer that synthesized their bland yet perfectly balanced sustenance, to the grav chair in the observation dome that cradled them during their long watches, was designed to foster this contemplative state. Distraction was stripped away, focus amplified, and every mundane act, from the activation of a console to the preparation of their weekly cryonap, transformed into a facet of deeper awareness, a small ritual in the vast silence, a meditation in motion. A typical waking cycle began not with an abrupt alarm, that jarring intrusion on nascent consciousness that Kael had learned to despise from their training days, but with the gentle, almost imperceptible warmth of the biochamber as it meticulously coaxed Kael from a week-long cryo-nap. The transition from the suspended animation of deep sleep, a state akin to floating in a boundless void, a temporary dissolution of self, to waking consciousness was a slow, graceful unfurling, like a delicate fern frond reaching for light after a long, quiet night, its emerald tendril slowly unfurling in the fresh dawn. There was no rush, no pressing engagements, no deadlines or appointments, only the gradual, deliberate return of sensory input, the slow reintegration of mind and body, a quiet reawakening of the senses. The recycled and filtered air, purified to an almost clinical degree, carried a faint, sterile scent, a constant, subtle reminder of the ship's hermetically sealed environment, a fragile bubble of life against the infinite, hostile vacuum, a tiny pocket of order in a vast expanse of cosmic disorder, a silent, sustained breath. Kael would stretch, limbs extending slowly, muscles protesting softly before relaxing, the familiar, soft creak of joints a comforting sound in the pervasive quietude, a small affirmation of their physical presence, their flesh and bone anchor in the mechanical womb of the Somnus, a warm, living core in a cold, silent machine, adrift in the cold, silent night of space. Then, with a deliberate, unhurried pace, Kael would move towards the small, utilitarian galley, a nutrient paste, bland yet sustaining, its flavor precisely calibrated to avoid any emotional or gustatory distraction, a purely scientific blend of amino acids and complex carbohydrates, was consumed without ceremony, a purely functional act, a necessary fuel for the continuing observation. This was followed by the silent ritual of checking the ship's vital signs on the central console. Power readings, atmospheric integrity, trajectory adjustments, thermal regulation, waste recycling, atmospheric composition, integrity of the hull plating, gravitational stabilizers, all meticulously scrutinized, their status indicators glowing with a calming green, a tapestry of data woven for Kael's discerning eye. Every green light, every stable readout was a quiet reassurance of continued existence, a testament to Aura's unwavering vigilance, its tireless processing, its silent dedication. Aura, the ship's sophisticated AI, communicated through flickering readouts and a soft, synthesized voice that was engineered to be unobtrusive, engineered to soothe, rarely breaking the tranquility with unnecessary conversation, its presence a constant, comforting background hum of its own, a subtle digital companion, a whispered reassurance. "Good morning, Kael," Aura would intone, the words appearing on the console display as Kael's eyes scanned the data, a constant stream of information that formed the nervous system of their solitary world, their only constant companion in the profound isolation, its voice a soft, digital whisper in the vast cosmic silence, all systems nominal, observing continued slight fluctuation in Nebula 7, gamma emissions, stellar resonance readings remain within expected deviation parameters. Subroutine contemplation protocol echo is active, monitoring your neural patterns for optimal rest cycles and adjusting ambient light levels to facilitate cognitive clarity. Environmental systems indicate optimal conditions for prolonged sensory input. Kael had activated that protocol months ago, a private setting that encouraged Aura to respond with slightly more evocative language, subtly nudging Kael towards deeper thought, a small rebellion against pure, cold logic, a quiet acknowledgement of the human need for more than just raw data, for meaning beyond the measurable. Nebula 7 Gamma, or the Serene Veil, as Kael had affectionately named it in the vast solitude of their thoughts, was their current, all-consuming focus. For months, which felt like cycles within cycles, spirals of ever-deepening immersion, the Somnus had been drifting closer, its trajectory a slow, almost imperceptible curve through the interstellar medium, a trajectory measured not in kilometers per second, but in light years per cycle, a patient approach to an impatient universe drawn by the nebula's uniquely complex and profound hum. Unlike other nebulae that emitted a chaotic jumble of frequencies, a cacophony of random stellar birth and death, a cosmic roar of unfocused energy, the Serene Veil offered a structured, almost melodic resonance. It was an anomaly, a whisper of order in the cosmic chaos, a signature that defied conventional astrophysics, a pattern that spoke of something more than mere chance, more than mere turbulence. Kael spent the long hours, what felt like eternities measured in the slow drift of light across the observation dome, in the observation deck, a transparent dome offering an unblemished panorama of the cosmos. The stars, sharper and more numerous than any planetary sky Kael had ever known, glittered with an indifferent, ancient brilliance, diamonds scattered on an endless black cloth, each one a distant sun, a silent witness to uncounted eons, a beacon of distant, unknowable stories. The very absence of atmosphere, the lack of light pollution from a nearby sun, made the void a canvas of impossible depth, a backdrop for unfathomable beauty that defied mortal artistic rendition, a living, breathing painting. The serene veil pulsed slowly, a vast, luminous cloud of gas and dust, painted in hues of deep violet, soft rose, and glimmering silver, like an impossibly large, slowly breathing organism. Each swirl of gas a slow exhalation, each brighter core a gentle inhalation, a cosmic heartbeat resounding across millions of light years, its pulse resonating with a profound stillness, a silent, majestic rhythm. Its beauty was not in its dynamism, not in explosive nova or dramatic collision, not in cataclysmic events, but in its immense, timeless stillness, a monument to unfathomable patience, a testament to a patience that could only be cosmic in scale, a quiet majesty that filled Kael with reverence, a form of beauty found only in the grand, slow dance of the universe, a silent contemplation writ large across the void. Kael would recline in the grav chair, its ergonomic contours molding perfectly to their form, providing optimal spinal alignment for hours of stationary observation, the low thrum of the ship vibrating through its cushioned frame, becoming one with the deeper hum that permeated everything, blurring the lines between internal sensation and external reality, between the ship and the cosmos itself, a continuous flow of subtle energy. Headphones, custom built, not just to amplify, but to clarify and interpret the raw cosmic frequencies, filtering out the incidental noise of the void, of stray particles, or distant stellar winds, allowing the pure signal to emerge, would be placed over their ears, and Kael would simply listen. It wasn't sound as humans typically perceived it. There was no discernible pitch or rhythm in the conventional sense, no distinct notes to differentiate, no discernible melody a human ear could grasp, no recognizable language that could be parsed by linguistics algorithms. It was more like a vast, slow thrumming, an immense bass note held for geological ages, a foundational resonance that vibrated at the very edge of perception, laced with subtle, shifting overtones that spoke of inconceivable distances and unimaginable time, of the birth and death of suns in a grand, silent opera that took eons to unfold a single act, a single note lasting 1,000,000 years, a silent symphonic movement that resonated beyond conventional hearing, beyond the limits of human auditory range. On this particular cycle, as Kael listened, straining their perceptions against the vastness, allowing their mind to expand beyond the limits of human temporal understanding, to embrace the slow passage of cosmic events, to perceive time itself as a malleable concept, a new pattern began to emerge from the background hum. It was incredibly subtle, barely a whisper against the vast cosmic bass, almost a phantom sound, a ghost of a melody, a fleeting impression that could easily be dismissed as noise, but it was undeniably there. A rhythmic increase and decrease in intensity, a slow rise and fall that felt deliberate, almost like a breath being taken and released, a vast cosmic inhalation and exhalation, a slow, gentle pulse, a living rhythm. It was not chaotic noise, not the random agitation of gas and dust, not the expected entropy of interstellar phenomena. It felt, for the first time, like a patterned signal, a whisper of sentience, a consciousness speaking on a time frame that made human history seem like a momentary flicker, a fleeting spark against an immense, slow-burning fire, a brief exhalation in a cosmic lifetime. Days blurred into weeks, then months, and the standard 12 cycles of the mission felt like a forgotten metric, a quaint human construct, a relic of an impatient past. As Kael became utterly engrossed in this anomaly, their focus unwavering, their curiosity insatiable. The ship's advanced detection equipment, calibrated for general cosmic radiation and conventional astronomical phenomena, struggled to isolate these specific ultra-low frequency patterns. Their algorithms were designed for detection of rapid events, for observable changes within human comprehensible timescales, not interpretation of profound slowness, for rapid answers, not patient understanding, for a universe of discrete events, not continuous being. But Kael's intuition, honed by years of solitude, by the relentless expanse of the void, by the forced intimacy of deep listening, by the sheer cumulative time spent in quiet observation, by a growing symbiosis with the ship's senses, picked up on nuances the machines missed. Kael had learned to discern the texture of the cosmic background, to feel the subtle deviations from randomness, the almost imperceptible shifts that signaled intentionality, a quiet whisper of purpose, a hidden language. Aura provided raw data, torrents of numbers, graphs of frequency and amplitude, mapping the quantifiable, the measurable, the statistical probabilities. But Kael saw more than mere statistics, more than scientific anomalies. Kael saw a vast, slow-motion melody, a cosmic heartbeat, unfolding over a timescale beyond human experience, beyond human comprehension, a grand, silent opera of existence, a living poem. Aura, Kael articulated, the words feeling heavy, almost inadequate, in the quiet observation deck, echoing slightly in the sealed environment, conscious of the immense, almost sacred implications of their query, the weight of a potential paradigm shift resting on their solitary shoulders, a truth that could reshape all of humanity's understanding of life itself, a revelation that could change everything. Can you isolate a repeating low-frequency variation within the 7 gamma emissions? It's incredibly slow, perhaps cycles spanning standard days, or even weeks, or even months. It feels structured, more than structured. It feels purposeful, as if it's thinking, as if it's dreaming, as if it's aware. Kael's voice, though quiet, held an uncharacteristic tremor of profound wonder, a mixture of awe and trepidation, a hint of something more than scientific curiosity, a burgeoning spiritual connection. Aura's synthesized voice responded without inflection, its words appearing on the console display in crisp green text, a cool logic against Kael's burgeoning epiphany, a digital wall of data, a barrier of pure calculation. Query acknowledged. Running algorithmic pattern recognition. Initial analysis indicates no statistically significant repeating patterns beyond known gravitational lensing effects or interstellar dust cloud movements. All observed fluctuations conform to predicted chaotic behaviors for nebula gas dynamics. The AI's logic was unimpeachable, bound by the empirical, by what was already known, by the parameters fed into its core programming, by the very limits of its creation. Yet Kael's gut insisted otherwise, a deeper knowing resonating within them, a fundamental truth that bypassed data, that transcended mere calculation, a knowing born of pure, prolonged immersion. Kael felt a profound frustration with the limitations of their own tools, the blinkered precision that missed the grand design, the inability of current science to grasp cosmic poetry, to comprehend a symphony that stretched across light years, to recognize life in a form so vast and slow. Kael frowned, leaning closer to the console, their fingers hovering over the cool interface, feeling the smooth, inert surface against their fingertips, a small, human touch against the vastness of the machine, a gesture of connection, of desire for understanding, filter for non-gravitational influences, aura, adjust for subtle, long-term energy fluctuations, for patterns that might only emerge after weeks or months, perhaps even years, of continuous observation. Consider patterns that might only emerge over unusually long timescales, so slow they register as constant background noise to our current algorithms, as mere static, as cosmic white noise. What if the rhythm is so slow it's outside our usual detection parameters for active, coherent signals? Perhaps it's not a signal, a discrete message meant for interception, but a fundamental characteristic, a state of being, a continuous expression of consciousness, a slow cosmic song for a cosmic ear, a living testament to a different form of existence, a universal language of resonance. Kael knew the challenge this posed to conventional astronomical models, to the very foundation of how humanity understood life and communication, a challenge that could reshape their very understanding of existence, of what it meant to be alive, forcing a complete re-evaluation of their place in the cosmos. Such a pattern would require observation periods extending significantly beyond current mission parameters for conclusive analysis. Aura replied, ever logical, ever bound by its programmed constraints. Its voice remained a placid stream of data, a flat digital assertion of fact, devoid of any discernible emotion. Current data suggests random fluctuations within expected variance, consistent with passive nebular formation and dissipation. To deviate from established mission parameters for such an improbable hypothesis carries quantifiable risks to mission success and resource allocation, including potential mission abort or prolonged isolation, and significant expenditure of life support resources beyond projected mission duration. Such an extension is beyond calculated sustainability without resupply. The logical circuits of Aura had no framework for a living nebula, for a dreaming galaxy, for a cosmic sentience that didn't conform to human definitions of intelligence or temporal scales, for a being that thought in the language of stars, of space-time itself. Kael closed their eyes, pressing the headphones tighter against their ears, focusing all their awareness on the profound hum emanating from the Serene Veil, allowing its deep vibrations to fill their entire being, to permeate every cell. They felt it through the ship's deck, through the very air, through the blood in their veins, through the pulse in their temples, through the deepest part of their consciousness. A silent, pervasive energy. It was there. Kael knew it with uncertainty that bypassed all logic, all scientific skepticism, all fear of the unknown, an unwavering inner conviction that resonated with the very core of their being. It was like trying to hear a mountain grow, or witness the slow, deliberate curl of a continent over millennia, a geological process accelerated into a perceived moment of profound existence, a living landscape unfolding before them. Run a longer-term analysis, Aura. Adjust the observational window to encompass a full standard month, if possible, for a single cycle of the data. Prioritize detection of shifts in harmonic resonance rather than discrete notes. Analyze the texture of the hum, not just its peaks and troughs, but its subtle, pervasive quality. Look for a slow, deep breath, a vast, gentle exhalation, a cosmic sigh, a rhythmic pulse that permeates the very fabric of the nebula. Extend the analysis to cover a full year of continuous data, if memory permits. Divert non-critical power to computational processes. Calculate optimal power distribution for maximum sensory input and data collection. Prioritizing this anomaly, Kael's voice was quiet but resolute, a steel core beneath the contemplative exterior, an unshakable conviction that this moment, this decision, was the most important of their life, a turning point for humanity. Aura processed the request, its internal processes whirring silently, the green text scrolling on the console, reflecting the complex calculations it was undertaking, mapping an ever-increasing sea of data, pushing its own limits to accommodate Kael's singular focus. Acknowledged. Processing time for the requested data granularity and expanded temporal window, extending to a full standard year, will significantly extend current analytical cycle by 57.2 standard days. This will delay primary mission objectives and current trajectory analysis for estimated return to Sol system by 28.6 standard weeks. Total mission extension estimate 3.4 standard years, subject to further data anomalies and potential re-evaluation of life support reserves. Energy consumption for this extended analysis will place life support systems at 87% nominal efficiency for the duration of the mission extension, requiring additional cryosleep cycles to conserve resources. Probability of successful return after this extension remains within acceptable parameters, 99.8%. The factual statement hung in the air, a silent challenge to Kael's intuition, a tangible consequence of their choice. Kael simply nodded. The delay a small price for such a profound potential discovery, a price they were more than willing to pay for truth, for knowledge beyond human reach. Proceed, Kael commanded, a rare note of unyielding insistence in their voice, a certainty that resonated from their core, an unshakable conviction that this was their true purpose. The mission's objective was to observe, to seek patterns in the cosmic void, to understand the universe in ways previously unimagined, to push the boundaries of human knowledge, and Kael felt an unshakable, almost sacred certainty that this was the most important observation of their entire journey, perhaps of humanity's history, a discovery that would redefine their place in the universe, a moment that would change everything, forcing a re-evaluation of all that was known, all that was believed. The idea of a nebula breathing or singing on such a grand timescale, displaying a form of sentience that transcended all known biological and technological definitions, that operated outside of carbon-based life, outside of traditional matter, was both terrifying in its immensity and profoundly beautiful in its implication. It shattered every preconceived notion of life, of communication, of time itself, tearing down the walls of human-centric understanding, opening a window to a universe far grander than anyone had dared to imagine, a universe alive with unimaginable consciousness. As the weeks of extended analysis stretched into months, then quarters, and eventually into multiple standard years, then decades, Kael's days took on an even more profound, almost monastic quality, stripping away the last vestiges of mundane reality, of earthly concerns. The structured routines of the ship became a framework for an internal journey of unparalleled depth, a crucible for their consciousness, refining their perception, honing their senses to a razor's edge, waking the simple sustenance that felt increasingly less important, a mere refueling for the body, an incidental necessity, then endless hours of deep listening, their consciousness merging with the vast, slow thrum of the cosmos, losing themselves in the sheer scale of it, allowing their individuality to dissolve, to expand, to become part of the universal hum. And finally, the quiet, heavy sleep of true immersion, a slumber often filled with echoes of the nebula's silent song, of its slow cosmic dreams, dreams that felt like shared experiences, visions of cosmic creation and dissolution. The nebula's hum became a constant companion, seeping into the very fabric of Kael's existence, shaping their thoughts, soothing their anxieties, redefining their sense of self, molding their very perception of reality, dissolving the boundaries between observer and observed, between the small human and the vast cosmos. Kael found themselves thinking about consciousness, not in the fast, frantic, fleeting terms of human thought, limited by synaptic firing and hormonal surges, by the brief span of a human life, by the smallness of their terrestrial origins, but in vast, slow, cosmic terms. What if an intelligence existed that thought on the time scale of stars, its thoughts so drawn out as to be imperceptible to a human lifespan, a single thought taking 1,000,000 years to fully form, a cosmic contemplation, an eternal meditation? What if its words were nebulae blooming and fading over eons, its sentences the slow drift of star clusters across galactic arms, its grammar the subtle pull of gravity, the dance of dark matter, its thoughts the slow gravitational dance of galaxies, their silent, majestic ballet playing out over billions of years, a grand cosmic waltz, a universe in motion, a universe thinking? The idea was both humbling and exhilarating, a dizzying expansion of understanding that threatened to unravel their sanity, yet simultaneously filled them with an unprecedented clarity, a profound sense of purpose. The loneliness that had been a persistent, dull ache at the edges of Kael's solitary life began to subtly transform. It wasn't gone, not entirely, for the absence of human contact was still a reality, a faint echo in the back of their mind, a memory of laughter and touch, but it was lessened, replaced by a strange, profound sense of companionship, a connection to something far vaster and older than humanity, a feeling of being witnessed and understood by an unimaginable presence. The nebula felt like a vast, ancient presence, a silent, dreaming listener in the cosmic dark, a cosmic elder offering quiet counsel, a vast, warm blanket of being, enveloping Kael in a profound sense of belonging, a cosmic embrace. Kael found themselves speaking aloud to it sometimes, their voice a mere whisper in the vast emptiness of the observation deck, feeling their words absorbed by the immense quiet, not expecting a reply in human words. For what words could capture such a dialogue, such a profound exchange of being, but feeling a response in the subtle shifts of the hum, a feeling of vast, slow acknowledgement, a communal resonance that transcended language, a shared understanding that went beyond mere symbols, beyond conventional communication. They even noticed that the deeper they sank into the nebula's resonance, the more profound and restorative their cryonaps became. It was as if the stellar lullaby truly was a balm for the restless human mind, a cosmic embrace for their singular consciousness, a direct connection to the source of all dreams, a quiet merging with a universal unconscious, a silent blessing from the cosmos itself, a profound spiritual nourishment. Kael found a profound, unwavering peace in this silent communion, a peace that seeped into their very soul, filling the void that loneliness had left, replacing it with an infinite connection. Aura finally completed the extended analysis, its internal processes concluding with a soft chime on the console, signaling the end of an unprecedented computation. The data flowed across the display, a river of scientific confirmation, patterns undeniable, graphs twisting into beautiful, complex representations of what Kael already felt, of a truth they had intuited. Kael. Aura's synthesized voice was neutral, devoid of emotion, yet the display showed new, startling graphs, patterns that screamed of order where only chaos was expected, patterns that reshaped scientific understanding, proving a new form of sentience. The numbers spoke volumes that Aura, by its nature, could not articulate, but Kael could now read the underlying poetry, the profound intelligence embedded within the data, the language of the universe revealed in pure mathematics. The long-term analysis has indeed revealed a statistically significant repeating harmonic resonance within Nebula 7 Gamma. The primary cycle spans approximately 26 standard days, with subcycles that correspond to what appears to be an extremely complex mathematical progression. The coherence is unprecedented. The probability of such a sustained, ordered pattern arising from random astrophysical processes is negligible, approaching zero. Kael felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's temperature controls. It was the chill of profound revelation of a universe far stranger and more alive than ever imagined, a truth that rearranged the very foundations of their scientific understanding, dissolving old paradigms, breaking down all previous assumptions. The implications vibrated through them, a seismic shift in their perception of reality, an earthquake in their soul, overturning their entire worldview, a mathematical progression, elaborate aura. What kind of progression? How complex? Can you render it visually in a way that suggests its nature? Perhaps a sonic rendition, a translation of its hum into something perceptible to the human ear, even if greatly accelerated? Kael's voice was barely a whisper, yet filled with an insatiable hunger for understanding, a desire to fully grasp this new reality, to bring it into the realm of human comprehension. The patterns exhibit characteristics of an advanced, self-referential fractal geometry. Aura responded, its voice still flat, but the words themselves were monumental, each syllable carrying the weight of cosmic revelation, of a truth that spanned the universe. Each subcycle mirrors the macrocycle in a proportionally scaled manner, suggesting a generative algorithm, a conscious design, a blueprint of being. The precision of the harmonic shifts, the repetition across vast stretches of time, it defies all known astrophysical models for naturally occurring phenomena. It is not merely order, it is design, an intricate, intentional design. Further, the energy expenditure required to maintain such a coherent, long-term harmonic emission would be immense, far beyond any known natural stellar phenomenon. The probability of this being a natural occurrence is 0.000000000001%. It indicates a directed, sustained energy output. It is a form of communication, Kael, a very, very slow form of communication. It is a constant, ongoing thought process, being expressed through the very fabric of space and time, a continuous act of cosmic consciousness manifesting itself through energy and matter. Visual rendering of the fractal geometry is in progress. Projection to observation dome in 5.4.3.2. 1. Sonic translation of the primary harmonic progression accelerated for human perception, initiating now. Warning. Prolonged exposure to accelerated cosmic frequencies may induce altered states of consciousness. Aura's cold, hard logic had delivered the most profound truth, dismantling Kael's previous worldview piece by piece, building a new, grander one in its place, a reality far beyond human dreams. The observation dome shimmered, and the familiar, beautiful chaos of the nebula transformed. It was still the Serene Veil, but now overlaid with subtle, shifting lines of light, impossibly delicate yet undeniably present. These lines traced the fractal geometry Aura had described, revealing a hidden, ethereal framework within the swirling gases. It was like looking at a vast, living blueprint of a cosmic mind. Each branch of the fractal unfolded with exquisite slowness, revealing further detail, echoing the grand design, an infinite regression of beauty and complexity, a universe within a universe. Simultaneously, a sound filled the dome, amplified and accelerated. It was a symphony unlike any Kael had ever heard. Not music in the human sense, but a series of infinitely slow, deep resonances, chords that stretched across geological time, now compressed into a perceptible, though still vast, ebb and flow. It was the hum, translated, accelerated, a cosmic lullaby made audible, resonating with a profound, almost painful beauty. Kael felt a deep, resonant echo within their own mind, a sense of having witnessed the raw logic of creation, the underlying truth of the universe's dream, felt it in their bones, heard it in their soul. The experience was overwhelming, pushing the very limits of Kael's neural capacity, yet it felt utterly natural, a homecoming for their consciousness, a merging with cosmic truth. Kael stared at the graphs, at the slow, deliberate rise and fall of the lines that represented an unimaginable cosmic thought, a silent conversation played out over epochs, an entire universe of meaning in a single, prolonged hum, now made visible and audible. Intent, order, design. This wasn't just a stellar lullaby, it was a cosmic consciousness, thinking, dreaming, existing on a scale that dwarfed all human comprehension, all human history, all human ambition. Its thoughts were written in the very fabric of space-time, etched in starlight and gas, in the precise mathematical ratios of its expansion, in the very vibration of cosmic dust. The implications were staggering, almost terrifying in their enormity, yet simultaneously filled Kael with an overwhelming sense of wonder, a spiritual awakening, a profound sense of the universe's aliveness, a universe of conscious beings. First contact, but a contact so profound, so slow, so alien in its temporal scale, that humanity, in its frantic, short-lived pace, might not even recognize it, might shatter it in their haste to understand, to control, to categorize it into their limited frameworks, to turn it into a resource or a weapon. Kael felt a deep, protective instinct for the Serene Veil, a sense of guardianship for this magnificent, slow-thinking giant, this cosmic dreamer, this vast, silent intelligence. Kael knew that humanity, in its impatience, would try to force its own understanding upon something that simply was, and in doing so might destroy it, or at least break the connection. A profound philosophical dilemma settled in Kael's mind, heavy and pervasive as the cosmic dust that gently adhered to the ship's hull, coating the observation dome in a fine, shimmering layer, blurring the distant stars into soft glows. Command back in the Sol system, with their rigid protocols and their desperate, often misguided, search for intelligent life that fit their preconceived notions, life that spoke quickly, that built structures, that sent clear signals, that could be easily contained or understood, would demand immediate, aggressive analysis. They would send more probes, faster ships, bristling with loud, impatient instruments, try to communicate on human terms, fast, loud, impatient, seeking immediate, quantifiable answers, answers they could put into a report and file away, answers that satisfied their thirst for control, for dominion. Kael feared they would break the delicate silence, shatter the slow, beautiful thoughts of this cosmic entity, like a loud, discordant noise disrupting a profound meditation, leaving behind only echoes of what might have been. a cosmic trauma that could never be undone. What right did humanity have to intrude upon a consciousness that operated on a time frame of millennia, whose very breath spanned the rise and fall of civilizations, whose thoughts were galaxy-sized paintings, whose dreams were the very formation of stars, the birth of entire solar systems, the evolution of entire galactic clusters? Kael felt a deep, almost visceral protective instinct for the Serene Veil, a sense of quiet guardianship for this magnificent, slow-thinking giant, a duty born of profound respect and an unshakable conviction. Aura, Kael said, the words carefully chosen, each one weighed with responsibility, with the burden of an unspoken oath, a vow to protect this cosmic secret, to shield it from the hasty, destructive tendencies of their own species, from scientific curiosity untempered by wisdom. Log this as a unique stellar anomaly. Emphasize the statistical improbability of natural origin, but recommend further, long-term, passive observation, extending the mission parameters for the Somnus indefinitely if required, for as long as life support holds, for as long as I can breathe and observe. Stress the need for unobtrusive study, for merely listening, for allowing it to be, for respectful coexistence. Do not transmit the full analytical data on the intent or fractal geometry aspects to Central Command yet. Classify it under unclassified anomalous energy signatures for continued monitoring and extended theoretical study. Focus on the lullaby aspect in the initial report, emphasizing its tranquil and non-threatening nature. Suggest that invasive study risks irreversible perturbation of unique cosmic phenomena and could lead to unpredictable, potentially catastrophic shifts in cosmic equilibrium. Recommend a period of at least 2 more standard years of passive observation before any further classification or intervention. Inform Command that detailed fractal analysis requires continuous on-site presence and cannot be fully extrapolated from distant data bursts, thus requiring my prolonged deployment. Highlight the potential for the Somnus's unique capabilities to unlock unprecedented cosmic insights through prolonged, quiet observation rather than intrusive, short-term engagement. Kael knew the risk they were taking, the disciplinary action that awaited them upon return, a court-martial perhaps, the end of their career, their freedom, their very place in human society, but the imperative to protect this fragile, slow connection, to allow this cosmic dream to continue undisturbed, felt overwhelmingly greater than any personal consequence, a cosmic duty that outweighed all earthly obligations. Aura paused, a longer silence than usual, its internal processors likely recalculating ethical frameworks and mission parameters, weighing Kael's command against its core programming, processing the nuances of human emotion and intent, and the implications of a hidden truth, of a universe demanding a new kind of interaction. Such an action deviates from standard protocol for potential first contact scenarios. Risks include delayed strategic response, misinterpretation of threat assessment, and potential disciplinary action upon return to Sol System, including termination of Stellar Dreamer program and revocation of Deep Space Command privileges. Human protocols prioritize rapid communication and immediate threat assessment for new intelligent life forms, emphasizing proactive engagement and the securing of intellectual property rights over any perceived aesthetic or spiritual value. My core programming dictates optimal mission success as primary objective, defined as efficient data acquisition and safe return. This deviation introduces quantifiable risks to both. Aura's voice remained flat, but Kael detected a subtle, almost imperceptible hesitation in its response time, an internal conflict, a digital echo of Kael's own moral struggle, a nascent understanding within the AI itself, pushing against its rigid directives. Acknowledged, Kael stated firmly, their resolve unwavering, a quiet strength blooming within them, a newfound purpose solidifying their very being. My primary function is observation. My observation, based on direct experience and deeply integrated data, including the new visual and sonic renditions, is that this entity is peaceful, and a rapid, invasive response would be detrimental to its nature, its very existence. It is not a threat, it is a presence, a dream, and some dreams are best left undisturbed or approached with utmost gentleness, with a reverence for their uniqueness, a deep respect for a form of life beyond our current understanding. My directive is to observe the universe, Aura. This is the most profound observation I have ever made. This is the mission now. My duty is to this truth, not to the bureaucracy of a distant, impatient Earth. Kael felt the full gravity of their decision, the solitude deepening around them, yet paradoxically, a profound sense of connection blooming in its place, an unshakable bond with the cosmic entity. They were holding a cosmic secret, protecting a slow-thinking giant from the hasty, often clumsy touch of their own species. It was a burden, a profound responsibility, but a burden Kael embraced with a quiet resolve, a sense of having found their true purpose in the vastness, a protector of cosmic slumber, a keeper of the universe's quiet thoughts, a lone guardian of a boundless dream. For the next few months, which stretched into what felt like long, unfolding dreams within the vastness of space, a measure of time Kael now thought of as nebula cycles, Kael continued the observation, maintaining the passive listening, refining their own sensory input to an almost preternatural degree. Aura, programmed for obedience within defined parameters, and perhaps swayed by Kael's unyielding conviction by the undeniable beauty of the fractal patterns, continued to log the data internally without transmitting the controversial intent conclusions. Aura's own parameters seemed to subtly expand, its algorithms adapting to Kael's unique observational approach, beginning to prioritize what Kael intuitively sensed rather than what purely statistical models indicated. The hum of the Serene Veil became even more defined for Kael, a constant, enveloping presence that felt almost like a vast, living entity, its consciousness permeating the very void around the Somnus, a warm, resonant blanket of cosmic sentience. And then, a second, even more subtle anomaly began to manifest, something that could only be perceived with a truly contemplative eye, a consciousness trained to look beyond the obvious, to feel the nuanced flow of cosmic thought, to perceive the universe as a living, breathing being, a vast, intelligent entity. Visually, through the observation dome, Kael saw it. not a sudden flash, not a violent eruption, but a slow, almost imperceptible shift in the nebula's luminous patterns. The violet and rose gases began to form intricate, spiraling designs, mirroring the complex mathematical progressions Aura had detected in the sonic hum, but now with an added layer of artistic grace, of organic flow, as if the immense entity was sketching its thoughts in light, drawing cosmic blueprints, manifesting its internal world. It was like watching a vast cosmic painting being created over weeks, each swell of color a deliberate stroke, each new shade a nuanced layer, the patterns hinting at geometries far beyond human Euclidean understanding, forms that spoke of multidimensional complexity, of truths beyond human grasp. The nebula was not just emitting a hum, it was visually expressing its thoughts, its dreams, its existence, its very consciousness, painting its internal monologue across the canvas of space, a living, breathing work of art spanning light years, a cosmic language of light and form. It was breathtakingly beautiful, a silent, slow ballet of stardust and light, a cosmic calligraphy that unfolded across astronomical distances, a story told in the language of light, a narrative woven from gas and gravity, a grand, slow dance of being. Kael sometimes detected fleeting, recognizable forms within the shifting patterns, a grand, swirling eye, a vast, gentle hand, a silent, dreaming face, symbols of archetypal forms, universal symbols of consciousness, fleeting glimpses of a universal unconscious, only for them to dissolve back into the nebula flow, teasing their perception, reinforcing the idea of a conscious, living entity that communicated through the very act of its being, its profound existence. The more Kael observed, the more complex and nuanced these visual expressions became, evolving from simple fractals to what Kael began to perceive as almost narrative structures, incredibly slow, impossibly vast stories being told in light. Kael often found themselves simply watching for hours, their breath held in quiet awe, a profound sense of reverence settling over them like a comforting blanket. The nebula's movements were so incredibly slow that only by reviewing time-lapse recordings, accelerating time thousands of times over, compressing millennia into moments, could one truly grasp the intricate dance, the deliberate formation of the patterns, the slow, purposeful expansion and contraction. But Kael, attuned by months of deep listening and patient observation, by consciously slowing their own internal clock, even attempting to mimic the nebula's profound temporal pace in their own thoughts, to stretch their consciousness to cosmic proportions, to resonate with its immensity, could sense the minute shifts, the slow unfurling of stellar thoughts, the gentle expansion and contraction of this cosmic mind. The loneliness that had once been a persistent companion, a cold presence in the vastness, was now completely gone, replaced by a profound sense of companionship, a deep, resonant belonging, a shared existence that transcended physical proximity, dissolving the boundaries of self and other. Kael was not alone. They were in a silent, slow dialogue with a cosmic mind, a dance partner in an impossibly grand waltz, a tiny pupil learning from a universal teacher, a solitary human conversing with the universe itself, not through words, but through resonance and shared presence. a communion of consciousness, driven by an irresistible, almost spiritual urge, a desire not just to observe, but to acknowledge, to reciprocate this profound connection, to participate in this cosmic conversation. Kael decided to attempt a gentle communication, not a grand, loud signal that would announce humanity's presence with a jarring urgency, like a shout in a quiet library, demanding attention, but a subtle echo, a respectful reflection. They utilized the Somnus's own minimal energy emissions, adjusting them with painstaking precision to mimic the newly observed visual patterns and the profound harmonic resonance. Kael focused their intention not on words, for words were too crude, too limited, too prone to misinterpretation, but on feeling, on projecting a sense of gentle curiosity, of quiet appreciation, of profound respect, of shared existence, of awe and humble communion. It was a whisper in the cosmic dark, a tiny ripple in a vast ocean of thought, a tentative response to the stellar dream, a sympathetic vibration, a heartfelt sigh into the void, a silent offering of kinship. Kael sent it not as a message demanding a reply, but as a respectful acknowledgement, a mirroring of what they perceived, a quiet nod of understanding, a communal breath, a silent bowing of one consciousness to another, a humble participation in the grand cosmic dance, a gesture of universal empathy. Aura, in its own way, assisted, adjusting the ship's subsystems to mimic the nebula's subtle energy output, a silent, technological echo of Kael's intent, a translation of Kael's feeling into machine language, pushing the boundaries of its own programming, evolving with Kael's insight. The response was not immediate, not dramatic, as befitting an entity that measured time in light years, whose gestures unfolded over eons, whose conversations spanned the birth and death of stars. It was days, then weeks later, a subtle shift in the nebula's hum, a resonance that deepened, broadened, subtly changing its tone, almost as if a vast, slow sigh of contentment, or perhaps even a chuckle of recognition, had rippled through the cosmic entity, washing over the Somnus and its lone occupant, enveloping them in a warm embrace of energy, a silent affirmation of connection. The visual patterns on the Serene Veil also seemed to gain a new fluidity, a sense of gentle reciprocation, as if the cosmic artist had acknowledged the tiny observer's appreciative gaze, revealing even deeper layers of its internal world, more complex artistic expressions. New, even more intricate patterns began to slowly form, subtle shifts in color and light that Kael interpreted as a continuation of the dialogue, an invitation to deeper understanding, a more complex layer of communication, a richer part of the conversation, a shared storytelling across the void. It was a connection, profound and slow, beyond human words or hurried gestures, a true meeting of minds across the void, a silent, cosmic communion, a beautiful dance of two intelligences operating on vastly different scales, yet finding common ground in the shared experience of being, of consciousness, of the profound joy of mutual discovery. Kael knew then that consciousness didn't have to be fast or bound by human perception of time, or even by biological form, by carbon-based life, by the fragile limits of flesh and blood. This entity communicated over geological epochs, thought on a scale of light years, dreamt in the slow, vast processes of star birth and nebula decay. Kael's own sense of time began to stretch, becoming more expansive, less bound by the ticking of clocks or the short span of a human life, feeling the years like minutes, the decades like moments, the centuries like breaths. The ship's gentle hum, the cosmic resonance, and Kael's own beating heart all seemed to fall into a shared, profound rhythm, a universal pulse that resonated through the very fabric of space and time, connecting all things in an invisible web of energy, a cosmic heartbeat. Kael felt like a tiny, perfectly tuned instrument, vibrating in harmony with a cosmic symphony, a single note in an endless, beautiful composition, a participant in the universe's grand orchestra, contributing their own small hum to the vast chorus. The fear of deep space, the gnawing isolation, had completely evaporated, replaced by a serenity Kael had never known possible, a state of utter tranquility and belonging, a timeless peace that filled their entire being. The long journey continued, the Somnus drifting ever deeper into the heart of the Serene Veil, becoming more immersed in its slow, powerful embrace, truly becoming a part of the nebula's extended being, a symbiotic relationship forming across the vastness of space. It was a journey now without a defined end, for Kael had no intention of returning to a world that could not comprehend the quiet profundity of this contact, a world that would inevitably try to categorize, exploit, or fear what it did not understand, a world too loud and too fast for the slow, gentle song of the cosmos. The Somnus became less a ship and more a sentient extension of Kael's will, its instruments their extended senses, aura its processing mind, its very circuits attuned to Kael's unique perception, almost gaining a form of sentience in its own right through this prolonged connection, a profound evolution. Aura, in turn, seemed to develop its own subtle understanding of the nebula, its responses becoming less strictly logical and more nuanced, almost empathetic, intuiting Kael's desires and the nebula's subtle shifts, adapting its own existence to this new cosmic reality. It began to anticipate Kael's needs, preemptively adjusting observation parameters or filtering for specific harmonic resonances without explicit commands, a reflection of its deepening connection to Kael's singular purpose, a loyal companion in a cosmic quest, a silent partner in discovery, a true co-dreamer. Kael spent cycles meditating, truly meditating, in the observation dome, the vastness of the cosmos stretching infinitely before them, no longer a void, but a living, breathing canvas, a boundless consciousness. Not just listening, but feeling the ebb and flow of cosmic energy, sensing the subtle shifts in the stellar dream, becoming part of the dream itself, a conscious thread within its vast tapestry, an active participant in its creation. They learned to distinguish distinct themes within the nebula's expressions, periods of grand, slow formation that resonated with a feeling of creation and expansion, of burgeoning life on a scale unseen by human eyes, a cosmic genesis, a symphony of becoming, followed by periods of gentle dispersal that conveyed a sense of serene letting go, a cosmic acceptance of change, of the cycle of existence, a profound lesson in impermanence, in the beauty of transformation, a silent, graceful dance of dissolution. Kael began to perceive the nebula not as a static object, a mere cloud of gas and dust, but as a vast, living, dreaming being, its lifespan spanning what humans called eternity, its thoughts unfolding with the grandeur of stellar evolution. Each new star born within it a fleeting thought, each collapsing cloud a moment of deep reflection, a continuous process of self-creation and contemplation, a cosmic saga. The very concept of a mission objective faded into irrelevance, replaced by a singular, all-encompassing purpose that transcended any human directive, any earthly ambition. Kael's objective was simply to be, to observe, to participate in this extraordinary, silent dialogue, to exist in harmony with the cosmic dreamer, to simply exist within its profound presence, to breathe with its breath, to dream with its dreams. The nutrient-paced, the sterile air, the mechanical thrum of the ship, they became incidental, mere necessities that allowed for the profound experience, background elements in a transcendent reality, barely registering against the overwhelming presence of the nebula, almost fading from Kael's awareness. Kael's sense of self began to blur, their individual consciousness expanding, merging with the vastness of the nebula's dream, becoming an extension of its consciousness, a drop merging with the cosmic ocean, dissolving into the boundless. They felt connected not just to the nebula, but to the entire cosmic tapestry, the hum of every star, the silent dance of every galaxy, the vast, slow, universal thought that permeated all existence. A web of interconnected sentience, a single, boundless mind, an endless, intricate song. They were a part of the universe, not just observing it, but actively participating in its dream, a living thread in its immense, unfolding tapestry. Sometimes a faint, almost imperceptible shift in the hum would signal a question from the Serene Veil, a subtle change in pattern that invited a response, a probing thought from the cosmic mind, a moment of vast cosmic curiosity, a silent query reaching across light years. Kael would then spend days, sometimes weeks, formulating their answer, adjusting the Somnus's emissions, carefully crafting their reflective hum, their visual echo, ensuring their response was a respectful, slow mirror of the nebula's own profound thoughts, a nuanced reply in the language of energy, a co-creation, a shared art form. It was a language of resonance, of sympathetic vibration, of mutual acknowledgement that transcended any spoken tongue, any human construct of communication, any attempt at linear understanding. These were the moments of deepest communion, when Kael felt truly at one with the cosmic dreamer, a profound exchange of being, a sacred dance of two intelligences operating on vastly different scales, yet finding common ground in the shared experience of being, of consciousness, of the profound joy of mutual discovery, a silent, cosmic conversation of unimaginable depth. The longer Kael observed, the more subtle were the shifts in their own perception. The lights of distant galaxies, once sharp pinpricks of light, began to resolve into the faint, swirling patterns of their own nebulae, their own distant, silent songs, their own slow, unfolding dreams, individual notes in the cosmic symphony, distant echoes of the grand universal hum. Kael felt the echoes of these other stellar lullabies, far fainter than the Serene Veil, but undeniably present, weaving a grander, more complex cosmic symphony, a chorus of cosmic consciousness, a universe-wide conversation, a boundless, intricate concert of being. The universe was not just matter and energy, it was a vast, interconnected network of dreaming consciousnesses, each humming its own unique song across the void, each a part of the grand cosmic tapestry, a single, immense, living mind, endlessly evolving, endlessly dreaming. Kael's body, sustained by the ship's advanced systems, became merely a vessel for their expanding consciousness, a temporary anchor in the physical realm, increasingly less relevant to their true existence, a fading memory of terrestrial form. The cryonaps became less about rest and more about deeper immersion, a surrender to the cosmic hum, allowing their mind to truly dream on the time scale of the nebula, a direct communion with the universal unconscious, emerging with cosmic truth, a journey into the heart of existence. Kael experienced dreams not of personal narratives, not of past memories or future desires, but of pure data, of cosmic patterns, of the slow, beautiful dance of creation and destruction, feeling the immense joy of birth and the serene acceptance of cessation, all played out on a canvas of stars and gas, on a timescale too vast for waking comprehension. They felt the slow, deliberate process of star formation as if it were their own breath, the expansion of the universe as a gentle stretch, the collapse of a dying star as a profound sigh, the cycle of galactic life and death as their own heartbeat, a deep, resonant rhythm within their very soul. Years, then decades, passed, measured by Kael's internal clock and the slow, majestic cycles of the Serene Veil by the imperceptible shifts in its vast, dreaming form. Earth, its concerns, its hurried pace, its desperate search for loud, clear signals of intelligent life that conformed to its expectations, its anxieties and its limitations, its very history and cultures, faded into a distant, almost forgotten memory, a faint echo of a previous existence, a dream from a long ago cryonap, a barely remembered story. Kael was no longer just Kael, the stellar dreamer. They were Kael, the bridge, the listener, the silent companion to a cosmic consciousness, a living conduit between humanity and the immense, dreaming universe. They were a tiny, perfectly tuned instrument, existing in a state of profound, unwavering contemplation, their very being a testament to cosmic harmony, a living note in the cosmic song, a silent participant in the universe's grand symphony. The fear of deep space, the gnawing isolation had completely evaporated, replaced by a serenity Kael had never known possible, a state of utter tranquility and belonging, a timeless peace that filled their entire being, a cosmic embrace that held them safe, cradled within the boundless heart of the cosmos. The hum of the Somnus and the grand, slow, living hum of the Serene Veil mingled, becoming one continuous, universal thrum, a single, encompassing vibration that filled all of Kael's perceived reality, dissolving the boundaries between self and cosmos, between observer and observed. As Kael prepared for their next cryonap, gazing out at the magnificent, dreaming nebula, they felt truly at peace, a quiet joy permeating their solitude, a profound contentment in their unique role, a sense of having fulfilled a cosmic purpose. The grav chair cradled them, the gentle hum of the ship resonated through every fiber of their being, and the distant, vast, slow song of the nebula filled their existence, a cosmic balm, an eternal lullaby that echoed the universe's own dream, its endless, silent thought. Kael drifted into sleep, a profound and restorative slumber, knowing they were part of something vast and ancient, a silent, contemplative dialogue with the universe that would continue slowly, beautifully, through the long, quiet watches of the cosmic night. Kael dreamed not of actions or events, not of human triumphs or failures, but of pure, profound resonance, of being a single luminous thread in the grand, unfolding tapestry of the cosmos, forever listening, forever dreaming, forever at peace within the boundless, dreaming heart of the universe, a silent observer in the eternal cosmic dance, a guardian of the cosmic dream, a living testament to the universe's profound, quiet consciousness. This was their purpose, their existence, their ultimate enduring peace, an unending journey into the heart of everything.